I think one of the most terrifying experiences of my life happened on a night that started completely normal. I am a 21-year-old woman, and I live alone in a low-income apartment building. I'm a college student, and financially, this is what I can afford for now. The building is old, the security is basic, and nothing about it ever felt especially safe. But it was home. That day followed my usual routine. I woke up, made coffee, and went to work. During that week, there was a power failure at my job, so we were dismissed early. I left around 3 in the afternoon and took the bus, planning to go straight to college afterward. The campus is far from where I live, and every day it's a struggle dealing with crowded buses. That afternoon, strangely, the bus was almost empty. My classes went as usual. Afterward, I stopped by a friend's house for a while, and later that night, I headed home. I don't feel safe taking public transportation late at night, so I ordered an Uber instead. By the time I arrived, it was already dark. When I entered my apartment complex, I noticed a man sitting in front of one of the units near the entrance. I had never seen him there before. He wasn't talking to anyone. He was just sitting there, still, watching the area. I tried not to overthink it. I assumed he was a relative or a visitor of one of the residents. I went up to my apartment, locked the door behind me, and tried to relax. I watched TV like I always do. Around 11 at night, I turned everything off and got ready for bed. That's when I heard it. A loud noise came from outside my apartment. It sounded like a door slamming shut. My body froze instantly. My heart started racing before I even understood what was happening. Then, I looked at my front door. It was slightly open. I swear, it felt like my soul left my body. I didn't stop to think. I grabbed my phone and called a friend who lived 2 buildings above mine. I told him something was wrong, and he came down immediately. When he arrived, we searched every room in my apartment. The bedroom, the bathroom, the kitchen, the living room. There was nothing. No broken lock, no missing items, no sign that anyone had been inside. Still shaking, we decided to check the security cameras. We spoke with the building's security guard and asked him to review the footage from earlier that night. That's when everything became real. On the screen, we saw the same man I had noticed earlier, sitting near the entrance. The footage showed him walking through the building, stopping in front of my apartment door, and trying the handle. After a few seconds, the door opened. He stepped inside. But then, suddenly, he ran out and fled toward the exit. We believe someone may have heard something, or maybe he got startled. Either way, he left before fully entering. By that point, other residents had gathered around. Everyone was watching the footage. The police were called immediately. When officers arrived, they searched the entire building and questioned several residents. No one recognized the man. No one knew who he was or why he was there. I asked the security guard how he hadn't noticed the man entering the building. He told me that many people pass through at night and that he doesn't remember every face. This is a low-income complex, and honestly, I never had much faith in the security to begin with. The police said they would investigate and told me to stay alert. Days passed, then weeks. Every time I contacted them, they said the same thing. They hadn't identified the man. To this day, no one knows who he was. I truly believe he had been watching me, following my routine, waiting for the right moment. And for some reason, that night, something stopped him from finishing what he came to do. That thought still keeps me awake sometimes. I'm in my early 50s now, so I grew up mostly during the 1980s. At the time, it was just my parents, my 2 younger sisters, and me. Whenever my parents went out, there was always a relative who stayed with us. But when I was 12 years old, my parents decided they trusted me enough to finally babysit my sisters on my own. This story happened the very first night they left us alone. My parents planned a night out to see a movie and grab dinner. They found a midnight showing of one of their favorite films from childhood. So they told me they wouldn't TV home until sometime between 1 and 2 in the morning. Around 11 that night, the three of us were still awake. All the lights in the house were off, and we were sitting together, watching TV quietly. That's when we heard a noise coming from our front yard. At first, I brushed it off. I assumed it was just the wind, or maybe a stray cat passing through. But about 2 minutes later, there was a loud, aggressive banging on our front door. Not a normal knock. Not someone politely waiting to be let in. It was loud, forceful, angry. All three of us froze. I muted the TV, and we sat there in complete silence. Even in the 1980s, there was no chance I was opening the door that late at night. I knew it wasn't my parents, and every instinct in my body told me something was wrong. Then it happened again. Another violent bang against the door. I forced myself to stand up and slowly walk toward the front door. Thankfully, the door was almost entirely made of solid wood, with only a few thin strips of frosted, stained glass. Whoever was outside couldn't see in. We crouched down near the door and could barely make out a dark figure standing on the other side. Before I could react, the door handle started shaking. Whoever it was trying to get inside. I didn't know if they realized we were home, and I was too afraid to make any noise that would confirm it. My heart was pounding so hard, I thought they might hear it through the door. We had a small wooden doorstop nearby. I grabbed it and quietly slid it under the door, hoping it would prevent the door from opening if they forced it. Our only phone was right by the front door as well, and I was too scared to use it. I didn't want whoever was outside to hear us. Instead, I grabbed my sisters and rushed them upstairs into my parents' bedroom. We huddled together on the floor, trying not to make a sound. From my parents' window, you could see the front entrance of the house. There were no blinds, only heavy curtains. I told myself not to look, but I couldn't help it. Slowly, all three of us lifted our heads, just enough to peek beneath the bottom of the curtains. And that's when our childhood nightmares were born. Standing outside was an old man. His eyes were empty, lifeless, and the moment we looked out, his gaze locked directly onto us, as if he knew exactly where we were in the house and had been waiting for us to look. His face was deeply unsettling, cold, threatening. In his hand, he was holding a brown paper bag. He gripped it tightly at the top, making it obvious that there was something heavy inside. Slowly, deliberately, he lifted the bag up next to his head. Then, he raised his other arm. He extended one finger and pointed at the bag. He slowly moved his arm back and forth, gesturing toward whatever was inside, as if he was showing it to us, as if he wanted us to wonder what it was. It lasted no more than 5 seconds. Then we dropped back down, shaking, too terrified to look again. After about a minute, I forced myself to stand up and carefully peek through a small gap on the side of the curtain, praying I could see outside without him noticing me. He was gone. The man had vanished. My sisters and I stayed huddled together on the floor, crying quietly and waiting for our parents to come home. The rest of the night is a blur. I only remember my parents walking through the door and all of us breaking down as we told them what happened. I believe my father filed a police report, but nothing ever came of it. The man was never seen again. No one ever identified him. Even now, decades later, I still wonder who that man was, why he came to our house, and what he was planning to do. And more than anything else, I still desperately want to know what was inside that brown paper bag. But even after all these years, one thing is certain, I'm very glad we never met him again. A little over a year ago, something happened to me that completely changed how I feel about meeting people online. I was 24 years old and had just moved across the country for the first time in my life. I didn't know anyone in the area, and my job wasn't the kind of place where friendships naturally formed. I was lonely and I wanted to meet people in a safe, casual way. So I downloaded Bumble BFF. I talked to a few girls, and the first meet I went on was actually really nice. That gave me confidence to try again. Not long after, I matched with another girl. I'll call her Amber. She was 22, and we chatted on the app for a few days before deciding to meet for brunch. We agreed to meet at a coffee shop in an outdoor shopping center. When Amber walked up to me, I noticed right away that she didn't quite look like her photos. It wasn't extreme, but enough to make me pause. The pictures could have been of a sister or a cousin, or maybe she was just really good at taking photos. I brushed it off. This wasn't a date, just a friendly meet. Almost immediately after sitting down, she began talking about very personal and traumatic things. It wasn't a back and forth conversation. It felt like a monologue. She also mentioned that she didn't drive and that she had 2 young children. I barely got a word in the entire time. As the minutes turned into hours, I started trying to think of a polite way to leave. But knowing she didn't drive made me feel guilty. I didn't want to abandon her. Eventually, I told her I needed to use the bathroom and continue on with my day. She offered to walk with me. Since the cafe was far from the restrooms, we had to walk across the shopping center to get there. While I was inside the bathroom stall, I suddenly heard a child's voice yell, "Mommy!" When I opened the stall door, Amber was standing there holding a small child. I remember thinking, where did this child come from? She introduced the child to me, and the kid made a strange hissing sound in my direction. I tried to laugh it off, but the energy felt off. When I washed my hands and walked out, I saw a man standing there with a stroller. Amber followed me out and introduced him as her boyfriend. He was quiet and unfriendly. She encouraged me to say hello to the baby in the stroller. Hesitantly, I pulled the cover down slightly and said, "Hi." The baby immediately started crying. I felt incredibly uncomfortable. I thanked her for meeting me and watched as she and her boyfriend walked away toward a car. What bothered me was that she had told me she didn't drive. She never mentioned that her partner and children were also at the shopping center, waiting nearby. I didn't understand how they ended up at the same bathroom, or how he seemed to know exactly where we were. After they left, I walked back across the shopping center and decided to stop for a pretzel. While standing in line, I got a call from a close friend. I told her about this strange meet and how uncomfortable it made me feel. The worker told me it would take a few minutes, so I sat. That's when I noticed someone standing in line behind me. It was Amber's boyfriend. My stomach dropped. I hadn't planned on seeing either of them again, but I also never want to hurt anyone's feelings. I made brief eye contact with him, and out of confusion and embarrassment, I decided to leave without getting my food. As I walked toward my car, I glanced behind me. He was following me. At first, I told myself I was overreacting, but every time I looked back, he was still there, keeping pace. Questions raced through my mind. Why hadn't he eaten earlier if he had been waiting? How did he know exactly where I was? Why was he following me now? I started walking faster. Then I started running. I told my friend on the phone that if I didn't call her back within 5 minutes. She needed to contact my partner and the police. When I reached the parking lot, I saw him running behind me. I got into my car and drove away as fast as I could. My heart was pounding so hard, I could hear it in my ears. Once I was halfway home, I called my friend back and told her I was safe. When I got home, I told my partner everything. That night, I deleted my Bumble BFF account and blocked Amber on Snapchat, which was the only other place we had connected. The next day, she found me on Instagram, a platform I had never shared with her. She messaged me, saying she had a great time at brunch and wanted to meet again soon. I blocked her immediately. I haven't heard from her or her partner since. I don't know what their intentions were, and honestly, I don't want to know. But that experience taught me a lesson I'll never forget. Be careful who you meet online.